Shaving time, shave this beautiful face of mine. Well, if Steak could do it, I could probably do it too. Alright, let's do it. Here we go. Oh, I knew this was a bad idea!
During a time where developers are too scared to innovate their franchises by taking risks, it comes as a pleasant and refreshing surprise to see people like Kojima and his crew innovating and expanding even one of the best series in all of gaming. Every single time a main Metal Gear game came out, it literally changes the whole video game industry. Metal Gear Solid changed the way stories are told in video games. Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty destroyed the meaning of the word expectations. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater told one of the best stories to be found in a video game, and Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns the Patriots was the definition of masterful presentation and fan service. And coincidentally, every single time a Metal Gear came out, it just happens to be the best looking game of its time. As one of the most anticipated games of the generation so far, how does Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain change the video game industry? It proves that a game can simultaneously give unparalleled gameplay freedom and tell a fantastic, stylish, albeit sparse story. Let's see how Metal Gear changed the industry one last time. Taking place after Peace Walker and Ground Zeroes, Big Boss has been in a coma for 9 years now, and it is now 1984. After probably one of the most intense first hours in a video game, the rest of the game follows Big Boss rebuilding Mother Base with his friends Kaz and Revolver Ocelot to get revenge on those that tried to ruin your life, specifically the mysterious group known as Cypher. While I do strongly recommend you play Peace Walker Ground Zeroes before playing this game, anyone could come into the Phantom Pain without knowing anything about the series. All you need to know is that this is a simple tale of revenge. However, fans of the series will more than appreciate all the subtle nods to other games. And as amazing as it is to witness one of the only unknown chapters in the Metal Gear timeline, there are a couple problems with the story. While this may sound opposite compared to what others would say about any other Metal Gear game, there just isn't enough cutscenes. Which is a shame because that means less story for us, and plus the Phantom Pain has some of the best directed cutscenes to be found in video games. Usually the cutscenes only have one camera, similar to what they did with Birdman. The rest of the story is told through cassette tapes, which is a mixed bag among fans. Some of the most shocking story revelations of the game are actually found in cassette tapes that you could totally bypass if you weren't paying attention. Ultimately, I like the cassette tapes, as they let you take in the story when you feel like it, and some of the important things being said in these cassette tapes don't sound like they'd be too interesting to turn to cutscenes. Another problem is there are some very loose character plot threads. The majority of characters, which I won't spoil for you, don't get proper closure and some are ultimately forgotten. In fact, there are a lot of loose ends that are absolutely unacceptable. The only thing I can say without spoiling anything is that the Phantom Pain almost feels disconnected and unrelated to the rest of the series. Some of these problems do sound like they were caused by budget cuts, or it could just be straight up Konami cutting parts of the game for various reasons. Luckily, the game does contain some of the biggest plot twists found in the series to date, and that's saying something. And even considering the game's much more serious tone compared to other entries, it's a joy to see that the game still keeps the series' sense of humor with the return of cardboard boxes and the Emmerich family pissing themselves once again. The game also has that sense of mystery and believability that has always been part of the franchise, as evidenced by literally anything that happens within the first hour of the game. What helps make the game's story more enjoyable is the game's fantastic voice cast. Kiefer Sutherland does an absolutely fantastic job playing Big Boss when he actually speaks. While I do love the concept of action speaking louder than words, there were many moments when I just wanted Snake to speak, because when he did, it was amazing. Kiefer Sutherland definitely gave one of the best performances I've seen in recent memory due to his strong growling voice and subtlety. The rest of the cast was terrific as well, especially Revolver Ocelot, who was played by Troy Baker! Without changing who he is, Baker did an excellent job conveying Ocelot in a different time of his life, truly making the character feel fully fleshed out. And the Phantom Pain also has the cutest, most believable dog in a video game. Besides with Valiant Hearts, I've never fallen in love nor felt bad for killing dogs in video games up until now. So props to Kojima for making a cat lover fall head over heels for a dog. The Phantom Pain runs with a Fox engine and looks absolutely incredible. Besides occasional pop-ins over great distances, visually the game is perfect. Over-the-top realistic lighting, believable landscapes, incredible detail from everything to guns, hair, trees, and buildings, the most impressive facial animation I have ever seen, and fantastic character animation all running perfectly. The game runs at 60 frames per second on consoles. It just goes to show anything truly is possible if you know how to handle the hardware, and Kojima's team, as well as the Fox engine, puts every other game developer to shame because of their excuses. The Phantom Pain also nails the atmosphere of the locations it allows you to explore. Afghanistan and Africa feel both vast and dense at the same time. Mother Base feels like a busy facility that is constantly growing. Enemy outposts feel tightly guarded, and huge buildings feel like huge buildings. Considering the huge scale of the game, it's beyond impressive to have the game nail the atmosphere everywhere you go. Like with other games of the series, the sound design is also up to par. The score this time is now much more modern and darker thanks to series veteran Harry Gregson Williams. The inclusion of all those 80s songs are also a welcome addition, and of course, the Phantom Pain does have its share of epic game-defying songs like Donald Burke's Sins of the Father. While there may not be as many memorable tracks as there were in other entries, the Phantom Pain soundtrack is nonetheless worthy of series standards. I highly recommend that you play Ground Zeroes before getting the Phantom Pain, not only to understand the story, but to get used to the game's complex mechanics. I might as well say it, Metal Gear Solid 5 contains the best stealth gameplay in video games. Every gameplay mechanic is perfect on its own, but it's even more impressive to witness all the moving gears, pun intended, to work together. I mean, where do I even start? The amount of control and responsiveness you have over Snake means unlike older Metal Gear games, he'll do whatever you want him to do it. The controls were very easy to comprehend, making every action you do feel like second nature. Diving to prone, holding up enemies just by pointing your gun at them, CQC and climbing feel easier to execute than most any other game out there. One of the most noteworthy changes is that MGS5 is an open-world stealth game that spans across two locations, Afghanistan and Africa. Unlike other open-world games where you can just roam around doing random stuff, the Phantom Pain is set up so you can roam the world to tackle either the main mission or the side ops literally however you please. You can enter whatever base you want to go to, whenever you want, in whatever direction you want, and however you want to enter. And the Phantom Pain gives you many tools that can help out in almost any scenario. The best thing to do in most cases is to pick out a vantage point and scout the area. Using your binoculars, you can automatically mark any enemy or target of interest you look at. Doing this enables you to see them through walls so you can monitor their movement. And believe me, this makes any mission much easier to handle, whether you're extracting a prisoner, assassinating a crucial target, or you just need to destroy stuff. What makes or breaks a stealth game though is the AI, and like its predecessor Ground Zeroes, Metal Gear Solid 5 has some of the best AI in video games. Enemies will act like real humans, investigating when they deem necessary, chatting with their friends when there's nothing to worry about, and flanking your position when you've been such a pain in the ass that you got spotted. It's remarkable how realistically enemies will act, as even their regular patrol routes almost never repeat. And you want to make sure you're never spotted, because if you are, just the thought of you in the area will never put the enemy's consciousness back to normal. Luckily, the game gives you a little bit of room for error by slowing down time only for a moment when you're spotted by the enemy. Fortunately, it never makes the game feel too easy, but if you disagree with this, you do have the option to turn the feature off. It's also impressive how enemies adapt to your playstyle. Headshot enemies often, they'll start to wear helmets. Do you sneak in too often at nighttime? Enemies will be equipped with night vision goggles. Do you like to snipe people? Then enemies will be equipped with binoculars so they can spot you over longer distances. Enemies adapt to how you play, and you have to do the same. Some of the best moments to be found in the game are the ones you create. If you get spotted and shit goes down, that doesn't mean you failed the mission. You just have to improvise and keep going. Besides just sneaking in and shooting people, you could call in supply drops to give you new equipment, you could call in a helicopter or an airstrike if you need cover support, and you also have buddies which can completely change your playstyle during missions. D-Horse gets you from point to point much faster and can also be a useful distraction. Once you beat Quiet in a sniping duel, which by the way is now one of my favorite boss battles in recent memory, you can position her wherever you want so she can snipe out targets you can't get. D-Walker is a small Metal Gear that you can customize with any weapon you want. And my personal favorite, DD. He'll sniff nearby enemies and items of importance, at which they'll be automatically marked for you. You can also play with bad guys and distract them for a while, which is actually pretty cute. Like mentioned previously, the main objective is to expand Mother Base and have the most kick-ass army of all time. In order to do that, you first need people. Previously seen in Peace Walker, you have the incredibly awesome Fulton recovery system, which lets you hook up a balloon to literally anything you want, and a helicopter will come by and pick it up. The Fulton system is basically what you use to supply your base. Instead of killing soldiers, you have the option to knock them out and bring them to Mother Base. This way they work for you so they can work for either your intel team, make weapons and items for you, or you can have your own little mercenary gang you can send out to complete missions for you. But anyways, your base also needs supplies like plants and minerals, which you can also Fulton. What about tanks and turrets? Fulton them. How about animals? Well, by Fultoning goats and bears, you can fill up your very own zoo. There are so many factors in expanding your own Mother Base, which in return gives you better items, but it's impressive how all these elements work so well together, which is where most other games fail. The fact that every single piece works so well together is one of the game's biggest secret accomplishments. To beat the main story, it took me around 50 hours to reach the real end of the game. Replay value consists of replaying missions to gain a higher rank, accomplish all the little bonus objectives in every mission, beating all the side ops, expanding Mother Base, and doing those really stupid main missions later in the game that just repeat an earlier mission but with new rules. Seriously, those things are stupid, but they're necessary to beat the game, unfortunately. But those are just the single player things to do. You can have your own forward operating base, which is separate from your Mother Base. You could choose to invade your friends' bases and steal their stuff whenever you want. Should you choose to participate though, that means they could come and steal your stuff. If this doesn't sound like your thing, then just know it's optional. Also, Metal Gear Online will be available on October 6th, and as far as I know, it's going to be amazing. This is a completely different kind of Metal Gear. Instead of focusing on an intertwining narrative featuring characters and plot twists that we've grown to lust for in the series, The Phantom Pain is a game that respects the player's intelligence with how they interact with the world. Besides a couple of story inconsistencies and obvious cuts that didn't make the final product, this game is damn near perfect. With a terrific core gameplay foundation, carefully thought out micromanagement, amazing AI, top-of-the-line visuals, and phenomenal performances that represent some of our favorite characters, The Phantom Pain may not be the best at being a Metal Gear game, but it is one of the best action games I have ever played. If this truly is Hideo Kojima's farewell to the series, then he is going out with a crown on his head and a finger pointed at Konami. I don't care what it is, but you better not stop making games, Kojima. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain receives a 9.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and stay fresh.